Sa mga platform ng social media ngayon, madalas na napapansin ang kalidad ng nilalaman. Sa Den, ang mga gumagamit ay nabayaran para sa paglikha, pagsusuri, at creation ng kalidad ng nilalaman. Ang mga tagalikha ng nilalaman ay gantimpala batay sa pakikipag-ugnay at maabot ng kanilang post o komento. Ang mga tagasuri ng nilalaman ay gantimpala batay sa bilis at resulta ng kanilang mga hula tungkol sa aling nilalaman ang uuso o mag-viral. Ang mga may-ari ng komunidad ay gagantimpalaan batay sa pakikipag-ugnayan sa loob ng kanilang komunidad. Sa Den, nagbabayad ang kalidad ng nilalaman.
Hello, and we are back for another Den governance call. Myself, Dave, and Joe Dragon with us this week again, right? The Christmas edition, I guess, or
yes.
A couple of days before that day. Anyway, it's this weekend.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Yep, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it, and Merry Christmas to those who don't. I hope you don't mind.
Yep, no offense.
Yeah,
Awesome.
No, seriously, no offense. Happy holidays for real, everybody. That's what it's about. It is that time of year. So we've got a pretty short agenda, and we do have some governance proposals to make and to go over. So I think we got enough stuff to get off on a couple of points that we wanted to make today, right?
Yep.
And then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing for next year, the Den-wide governance, what types of user gets what type of vote, and how you decide how much of that vote that you get. And I don't know, maybe we'll even get into a little conversation about whales and the effects of them on a, not an economy, but what am I looking for? A
decision.
Yeah, a decision, I guess, but a culture. How about that?
There you go. Yep.
A community.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. So do we have anything we need to check off the box as far as announcements or updates? Here's one. It's not on the agenda, but today, instead of Boosted Friday, it looks like we're doing Boosted Thursday. So if you have some original content that you've put on Den you're particularly proud of, or if you would like to get some more eyeballs on it, you can post into the reply section here, put a link to your original content that you've posted this week in Den, and it may or may not get boosted, but it probably will. That's the idea, right?
Right.
And just so you know, boosting is our only thing that is similar to advertising that we have on Den. We don't have any traditional ads. We do not sell anyone's data for ads. I don't even think we collect it except for an email address. And so boosts are the way that you can increase visibility, and it's only payable with the native token, which you have to earn, or you can, if you are a business that wants to interact with that function, you can grab it on Uniswap or whatever, if you know what that is. But yeah, that is not the post I wanted to go back to. It was this one. So yeah, that's Boosted Thursdays.
Perfect.
Friday is, what is that, Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, yes. Yep.
My wife considers it Christmas. In Germany, it's a day early.
Really?
She always reminds me of that. Yeah, so we've got Christmas twice at my house.
But it's not like what Canada is Boxing Day. Is that the day
Boxing?
before Boxing Day? Yeah.
Like put up your dukes?
That's what I used to think, but no, apparently it is putting things in boxes. I think
Okay.
it is.
It's like our
putting things in
unboxing day.
boxes.
Oh,
Yes.
you mean it's like for wrapping
The day
presents before the holidays?
It's actually on the calendar. So I would always wondered anyway.
I don't know.
Somebody look it up.
Yeah, somebody look it up and make a post, and I'll tip you out. I mean, that's what we've got going on here.
I didn't know Germany did that. That's interesting though. Okay.
Yeah, they do, and they do it like a marathon too. When I first time I went over there for Christmas, if we had Den at the time, I probably would have written about it on like the travel. I made a travel blog.
Okay.
But the Christmas marathon was like, it's crazy. I didn't realize it, so I went out and did Christmas, and then the next day we did it again at a different family member's house, and then the third day we did it again at a different family member's house.
Yeah, I guess we did that.
It's
in
a big
Midwest,
thing.
Too. We would do Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. Did the different sides of the family. By the way, so the judges have given us Boxing Day was traditionally a day off for servants, and a day when they received a special Christmas gift from their masters. The servants would also go home on Boxing Day to give Christmas boxes to their families. That's interesting.
That's like a perk, like a fringe benefit of the servant job, right? When you're if that's how that works. It's like, oh man, these guys have Boxing Days over here.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Cool.
Cool.
That's the
So
first thing.
moving on. Yeah. I wanted to definitely, I was thinking we should go through the proposals before we go off and make one, and then we'll go talk about 2022. Does that sound like a good order?
Perfect. Yes.
Great. And then,
so we show the new nav item, right?
which is down here. So on the right-hand side, you'll see the governance gavel. What you used to have to do is go into a layer and then go click on that layer's governance issue and then see the list of issues. And then it would only show that layer. So now you can actually go to the gavel on the side where it says governance, and you get a list of all of the governance issues that are open. If you voted, it'll say you voted. If it was approved, it'll say it was approved. If you don't have lot for the layer, currently it will still show you the governance proposals, even if you cannot vote on them. So next up will be a feature where you can filter out the ones you don't have a lot on, because obviously you can't do anything anyway, but it's really good to see them in one spot, because you don't have to anymore like go through all the different layers. Let's say you have lot in 6 or 10 different layers, then you'd have to go through, that's a lot of time to go through each one and find the governance issues. So
and not
this
going
is a
win. Right. So
yeah, right. And so this sorts, I think by default by last modified, but you can switch it to created.
Right.
It switches the order.
And at least what I want to see is the default be if I go there, it will right at the top show me only issues that I can vote on, that that I have a lot with and that I haven't yet voted on. Right. So I could just go click. It's like, oh, something I can vote on. Boom.
Right. Yeah. Like basically your to-do list, your things that you haven't voted on yet, do you need to weigh in on.
Right.
And that could
something
be
else that will probably happen at the beginning of the year will be every single governance issue will also have an automated post, so that you'll be able to click from the post to the vote or from the vote to the post, so that if you don't quite understand why they're doing something, you can then, have a full discussion before you vote, that type of thing. So
yeah, that's going to be important because if for example, I wanted to, let me just jump over there. I wanted to go in the gaming layer, and I've been working on some stuff for that a little bit today, actually, this morning early on. And here we go. The tags in the gaming layer.
This is music.
This is music layer. Dave, your subconscious is getting to you.
What's going on?
Yeah, saying one thing and doing another. All right, down to gaming.
Top. There you go.
And the tags. Okay, so this is all the tags we have. These are the standard tags that come with the layer when it gets created, except for some reason, tabletop didn't get them. Remember the site-wide tags?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if we got an answer to that or not.
I don't think so. I think people have been busy. But I want to propose at least one right now. I know somebody else was trying to get some as well, and I don't want to get. I'm just going to go at this like what I would like to see and what I think would work overall. If you get a ton of tags in here, it can get a little bit messy. Shout out to the food layer. There's like a wall of tags where you can like go in and pinpoint exactly which type of fish it is that came out of which part of the world is a tag. It's kind of
what
like
region.
Talking about metal music,
kind of
it's
food.
like
yes, exactly.
But anyway, so what I was thinking is having like the overall categories as the game type. Like I started playing Elder Scrolls Online with a couple of friends of mine. We're all super geeks about Elder Scrolls, get deep into the lore and read about it and stuff like that. Like that's our Tolkien, that kind of thing, So none of us has spent a bunch of time in Elder Scrolls Online. So we decided, you know what, let's spin that up and we can do something with a gaming layer on that. But then there's no tag to tag that. So I'm going to add a tag for MMO. So I'm going to propose MMO and describe
all
change.
Lowercase. I think they're all lowercase.
Are
That's
they?
something it should automatically do. But
Okay.
Yeah, it'll
Good to know.
convert them. But
Now I don't know, for example, and this is where it's helpful to start a conversation before you add tags, so you can read the room, see what other people want. Because I don't know, for example, if this should be MMO, because that's shorthand for MMORPG. You know what I mean? So I'm inclined to do MMORPG now that I've thought about it. because there's
Can you have an MMO that isn't an RPG though? And if you just did an MMO and an RPG tag, then somebody could combine.
Yeah,
both
I
of
mean,
them.
you could. I don't think it exists, but yeah, you could. You could do an MMO that was purely like massively multiplayer airplanes flying around shooting each other with no role playing, just chaos. And that would fit the definition. I just don't think it exists. Sounds fun though. Sounds like an arcade game.
Okay.
So describe change. I'll just put a quick description in here. I'm not going to put a tag. Of course, we know it's a tag, right?
Right.
I'm going to put I'm playing an MMO RPG and would like to have a tag for it.
Yeah, that's good. Because I've
You know
seen
what
a
I
few
mean?
that say, "Oh, create this tag," and a lot of times they've probably done that because they don't know that the system, when it creates the governance issue, will actually automatically say what the effective proposal is, right? Oh, the create tag MMO. But what this is supposed to be is the human readable, that like, I'm actually wanting to use this. We're playing this game. We're thinking about doing this. Here's why everybody should want to approve this,
Mhm.
right? It's kind of
Yep.
like convince people why you want it in the description, right? So, yes.
So I'll confirm that. Sitting successfully created GI. Now I'll close this, and I should see that in the in two places. One, I can go back to the gaming layer. I'll just use the same tab. Sorry, I'm a tabaholic.
Yes.
Go to a gaming layer. G. And governance issues. Now this is the old way. I had to navigate. Well, it's not the old way. It's one way, but the only way that existed at first. So here it is. 32 seconds ago, I'm playing an MMO, and I want to make a tag for it. It had already voted for me because I am the one that proposed it. So there we go. And now somebody else who has some lots. Do you have some lot? Yeah, you do. Cool. Let me refresh. 2 voters have committed. Yay. Awesome. Right. So once this reaches 50 greater than 50%, it'll pass. Right. And then if nobody else votes for it, this will sit here for 2 weeks, and then it'll pass because nobody else voted, and it just takes whoever votes.
Yep.
So then,
speaking of that, I was really excited yesterday because I put in the very first governance issue on any of the layers for history to create a Western Civ tag. Is like, okay, what can I put in place? And I was frustrated because even though I have a lot for history, I don't have 50%. And so it languished. It had 3 voters forever for like a week and a half. Then had a 4th voter, but it still didn't hit the 50%. But then finally, the 2 weeks, that window passed, and boom, it was like to the minute. It worked. I'm like, wow,
cool.
I love it.
Yeah, and this was quick. You saw how fast that happened, and that's all on chain, right? It's all the events, everything that happens here. So, fucking DragonNet, man. I love it.
It's awesome.
All right. So the other way would have been to go to the governance tab, and then that shows up at the top because it's last modified. So shows up at the top of that list too, right on top of the proposals for World Blockchain. So there's your governance. Now let's see. Let me go through and see what I've not voted on. I just looked through it a minute ago when I was talking about it, but I didn't think about it. I don't think so. Or it would be at the top.
There's something in Middle
I don't
Earth.
have any. Yeah, I don't have any Middle Earth.
You don't have any Middle Earth? Oh,
no, I'm an Elder Scrolls guy. It's a thing now. Us kids grow up, and freaking Elder Scrolls video games changed our lives, and we remember that now. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so we have if you click on that, I'm going to vote on it just because I hadn't seen that before. Sorry, I'm way over here.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh wait, which one is that? Let me go back. That was in
Middle Earth.
Here? Yeah, Middle Earth right here.
They want to turn on reputation settings.
Oh, dope. Where is that?
Is that turn on. Oh, they're wanting to turn on video.
Oh, you've got yours up there, don't you? Or do you? I'm sorry. I just put you on blast. I'm sorry.
So I'll just vote on it. Anyway, not a big deal. We don't show it. I just voted on it.
Here, I'll do it. And
let's see here. It moved up to the top. We're still 34%. It didn't resolve. It would have been cool to see something resolve, right? But we have 34% on it. It's good. Okay. Anyway.
I don't see that. Oh, right here, reputation.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I don't know why, but I'll be looking at something right in front of my face, and I was just like, I don't see it. What are you talking about?
That's normal. That happens. That happens. So
Awesome.
okay.
I'll add some more tags too for layer, but I'll throw in like, you know, big umbrella topics, and then if there's a demand for more narrow stuff, we can do that as well.
And we should we show the creation of one now? Where if I had someone ask this particular
yes.
bit that you know, they so the street meet hasn't been able to get the tag proposal in for what's it look like? It's in gaming, so they want to create a Warzone tag, right? I think I might know what it is actually, but anyway, maybe how do we want to do this? Anyway, you
Are they having an issue? Are they having an issue with that? With getting it? Is it because they
wonder if
tipped the lot and there's a delay on when they have
I don't
it?
think so. He said he has enough energy, and let's look. It is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it should only take
street meet. So let me look.
it should have that user should have plenty of energy. They interact a lot.
Yeah. You know, they have. The question is if they have. Let me go to gaming, see if they do have. Which I don't think they'd be able to actually get into that interface if they didn't have the lot. But let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, street meet. They're on there.
Okay.
So I wonder, and this might be literally just a stupid bug that I've known for a while, but only a few people who had admin were dealing with the tags. That when you enter in the tag, it requires them to all be all lowercase and have only alphanumeric and I think dash. Like you can't put a space, you can't do anything else. And sadly, it doesn't do a really good job in the interface of. So originally, it would tell you you can't do that, right? In the old one, I have not tested that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Since we put in
exactly.
governance, and he put a capital W. If you look at it.
So it could have been a formatting thing where we need to do some reformatting.
Yeah, and it literally, if you type a space in there, it should put a dash, and if you type an uppercase, it should make it lower. It should just force everything lowercase. But
that's
we
a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
I'll bet that's what it is. So
okay, that's a good segue to something else I wanted to mention. Is that we do have like a polish update planned that we've been looking at some things like exactly what you're talking about, specifically with the app. But a lot of stuff will come with that. Also, in the app, there's and I just noticed this today, and I didn't bring it up when we were talking about it the other day, but when you reply to a message, you don't get the formatting tools that you do whenever you're posting a message on the app. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So you either have to know Markdown or you have to, like here, for example, I have, I got a post over here that's
in the app it's all Markdown, I think, right? I don't think there is any like in the app.
Oh no, the app has formatting tools when you post now.
Does it? Okay.
It's just the replies don't. So we can work on that too. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up since it's a governance call. I figured it was appropriate to bring it up.
Yes.
You know what? I won't even go down that rabbit hole. I was trying to find a certain post, and that's going to get me off. That's going to get me off on a different thing.
That's cool.
But yeah. So polish updates coming, and little quirks like there's certain annoyances that have been around, but they've not been the top priority to work on. We've been working on stuff more like the governance tools that we just did and the 2022 governance model. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, or do you want to go look at these layers again? Have we looked at the winning layers?
We can do layers first. We do all the layer stuff because there's one question like, say, the 2-week timeout. It's hard to gauge yet because we don't have the automated posts and we don't have the notifications going out to people that, hey, you have something to vote on, right? Or something to discuss and vote on, right? That's coming, but we wanted to kind of get it in place, get a feel for it, see it working before we really, started pushing it and saying, vote, vote, vote. So once we get that in place, we'll be able to tell. Right now, we have so many governance issues that we put out that not everybody knows they're there. Right. So they aren't voting on them, which, is okay. But that means, like that one from the history layer that was a 2-week wait.
Right.
even though we were at like 48% vote. And so right now it seems too slow. It's okay, but I'm very impatient. And so once we get the notifications and the automatic postings happening, we will probably want to go out and to everybody and say, hey, is this 2-week time period, that window, is that long enough? Is it short enough? Right. There are various reasons you don't want it too short, obvious. But there are also reasons if let's say you have somebody who owns a large portion of the lair that isn't, active right now. They're on vacation or something, everything would grind down. So
Right.
anyway,
Yep.
it's just a
Be
question.
lingering around for months and no decisions made. I was
Right.
thinking about that same thing in the context of like taking over a layer. What if there's a layer that is just a dead layer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now the trick is you got to have lot to be able to open a proposal. But if you can get your hands on just one of them, you can go through and make some proposals. And if nobody shows up and cares for 2 weeks, then that's not, you don't get to take over it. You don't get to own more lot than you have, but you get to, if you want to make changes to it because that, it would better fit what you wanted it for, then you can do that.
Which, by the way, could be the thing that maybe we say that maybe there's bounds on it, but maybe that 2-week period, the two-week window is configurable by the layer itself. So we say, okay, we don't need 2 weeks. Let's make it 3 days. Versus, oh no, we want it to be 4 weeks. But that way, if you took over a layer, you could at least come in and say, okay, we're going to convert everything to 3 days. Now we're going to just start. We're going to change all the stuff. And then if the person who came, wait a minute, guys, they could come in and they could still kind of, they still have their lot. So
it'd be a cool experiment. Would be to do a version where like if and this would have to be one of the business layers, right? Because you can't create any more lot for the LCP layers, but you can for the business layers. Mm-hmm. So you could do something like a custom governance model, where if, let's say, like we can't destroy people's assets, but what if we were able to dilute them? What if you don't vote in 3 governance things in a row? What if your lot splits and the people that did vote get your split lot or something like that? Actually facilitate a takeover strategy for reviving, that
and
kind of thing.
And the incentives on it would basically be you better pay attention. You have something you care about, pay attention, right?
Yeah. Now the question is, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it would be a fun experiment.
Yes. And by the way, so another thing, do you have opened my answer to Jeffrey on? Because we should go through that because that's kind of like a bigger vision.
Let me bring that up. I don't, but I know where it's at. So that was in the main Den layer, right? And that would have been. Also, I found this today. This is cool.
I had not seen this.
Yeah.
I have been the boss.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
That is
I know where it'll be. It'll just be in my.
I love it.
It'll just be in my replies. That's where it'll be.
I love it.
Because I was just talking about it. It should be in this here.
There we go. That was it.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right. So here's his Jeffrey. I'll just you can summarize it if you want.
Yeah, Jeffrey. So he used to work with us, right? Yep. He's still a friend. We love him. He has his own NFT Discord server and thousands of people in it, and he's done a ton of really cool things with NFT. So he was asking, they're going to do something to launch a DAO in 2022, and wanting to know, what are the possibilities? What could we do in Den? As a pot, what would be doable so that they can decide whether it's something that they would consider, right? So there are obviously, in fact, there are a bunch of great answers in there already. But I wanted to at least highlight something that we haven't really exposed too much, which is kind of the broader vision of layer governance, right? And kind of what we're expecting to do this year. And it's like, but should I post this publicly? Sure, right? So if you go down to that, the main 3 points on it were, let's see here, that the current version, I think I put it in a paragraph after the bullets, but in the current version, where's it at?
Oops. Yeah, I don't know. Let me start from the top again. There's my reply. It's a direct reply, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. There we go.
There it is. There we go. So
yes, this is what I was thinking about with specialized DAO a minute ago.
Yeah. And so the bottom paragraph on bottom of the screen right now was generally describing what is possible right now and how to look at it. That you have two different types of governance issue generally. You have a config governance issue, which is what we just showed, that I want to create a tag, or I want to add reputation settings, or I want to change this or the banner or something, right? And all of those are wrapped with effectively a smart contract that on the back end says, once the resolution happens, once everybody's voted on it, the issue is closed, and immediately the change takes effect, right? So the banner changes. We saw that, the tag is now there available. Mm-hmm. So any new post can add the tag or whatever else, right? And all those things are effectively, smart contract execution. The other general type is a miscellaneous governance issue, which is anything that might be human related, where the interface is basically, like we usually describe, okay, who's going to cater our next meeting, or who, what are we going to do? Are we going to change something in our, I guess our governance document or community guidelines document or something like that. And basically it's saying, okay, here's everyone weighing in, this wins. Now we have the authority to go and take this action as humans, or it could be release a budget. It could be anything, right? So that's what's already there, right? And given that, we had three general models, and this could be, especially the third one could be greatly expanded. But the first is literally just a lot-based DAO that you could come in with your neighborhood org, with your club. You could create a layer. You all have lot assigned based upon however you want to assign them, and it could be based upon payments of dues or who knows what, right? And you all can vote on any of these things. The second level would generally be, okay, now we have, let's say this is a project where we have real world goals. We're trying to build something out, and we want a literal DAO, and we want to register it in the physical world. In, let's say, Wyoming right now is the one that offers this. There might be others later, but that you could go through this and have a templated DAO that you can just take and fill out the paperwork on, other details, but generally though, the methodology and the governance protocol is already defined. So you just take that and you file it. And now you have a way for your decentralized autonomous organization to interact with real world legal or business entities, right?
I'd be curious to take a look at Wyoming's application form or whatever paperwork or whatever documentation needs to be filed with them, just to see what it looks like, because I think a lot of people would be more willing to do something like that than if there was some sort of template, like here's what it looks like on paper, here's what you're doing, that kind of thing. Right.
And we don't know this yet. We think that we will run that process, if you want to register it, that'll go through smart ballots, which is partner entity that Dragon Chain is involved in, right? And then the third type, or the third level, would be specialized, which would be if you have your own token, you don't want to use a lot. You have, whether they're NFTs or if they're fungible, or closer to say what Den's site-wide governance is, that is not really token. It's a behavior-based governance model. That the amount of vote you have is not based upon how much tokens you buy. It's based upon how much you do of what you do, right? And how it fits into that economy. So
I think that's the special sauce. Yeah. From what we've talked about so far, getting this ready to be rolled out next year, early, that I think that's that point right there, where you don't necessarily, it's the zero cost of entry thing to me. It's the you don't have to claim an airdrop. You don't have to go figure out how to use a wallet and even like go sign up on 3 different websites for things. Those things are great for tech inclined people. But if you got a business to run and you need, like, you just need specific people to be involved, you're not only bringing in, techie people. So this is, so this that's not even the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was, it's great how the metrics that we're able to see on Den are able to enable this, like you don't even have to know that you're participating in a DAO,
right,
to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just kind of like, okay, objectively, these measurements say this or that, and based on that, you get a vote, and this is your weight, and that kind of thing.
Right.
So that's really cool.
It can solve at least some of, if not all of, the issues that you would have with, whale effect. That if I have $1 million, I can come in and take over this whole community because I can buy enough votes and destroy it if I want. That this would mean, effectively, I have to come in and be an active participant in that community that I'm wanting to destroy, in a way that the consensus says that I'm a good active participant. And now I have enough vote, in which case I'm like, well, I've kind of defeated the purpose. You've taken an enemy and made them do work for you, right?
I've thought about that too. The benevolent whale versus the malevolent, I guess. But I guess, what am I trying to say? The whale who hasn't earned the status versus the whale who the community has uplifted because they've shown that they're a team player, or they know what this particular layer wants, or this particular DAO's mission is, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that's not a problem, because there's a lot of people that have not done that, and maybe they shouldn't have as much say, because that's a recipe for dangerous things happening.
Right.
Where do you want the influence to come from? That's the decision to be made. And how
by
do
the
you
way,
mitigate bad things? Not stop them, but mitigate, because you're never going to stop them. You just have to make them very freaking hard.
Yeah, and you can convert it to a point where they have to signal themselves. If they're attacking a network, it's signaled. You see that they're attacking a network, and you can decide, is it a big enough attack for me to rearrange priorities and take care of it and adjust the algorithm because they found a hole, or is it fine to let it go and it's almost like it's a bounty? You showed me that exists. You have a brought
attention to it.
Yeah. And the other thing that this post was interesting, at least for me, was he had mentioned alpha. So NFT world, that someone comes in and says, "Hey guys, here's a project you haven't heard of, right? Or here's something cool you should want to know about." Obviously, that can be rewarded directly with matter inside the community, because the people who see it will be able to push it up. But there's stuff beyond that I hadn't, and I didn't describe it here because I'm like, when I started writing it, it's like, no one will get this. But behavior, you think about this. Let's say I come into, let's say he sets this up. They have governance. There's special access or special features for people with certain NFTs or whatever he wants to do. Imagine if I come in and say, guys, really, you need to look at this project. It's cool, whatever. That the great thing about it is it wouldn't necessarily, because with matter, it would be, oh, that's great, Joe. I love it. I'm going to vote it up. You get rewarded immediately. But what if it fails? What if they don't deliver something else? The great thing is you could probably develop objective measures and say, look, Dave brought this project to light for the community, and it actually performed. And that could then weigh in on your actual weight in the community for the governance. And that's the type of stuff that could be crazy, because you don't know what the outcome will be, and it doesn't matter right now. What matters is when the outcome is the outcome. Okay, the outcome.
It'd be interesting is if you could do like a like, what if you put in a certain amount of matter or something, as like you saying, no, but I'm serious.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Pay attention.
No, but I say this shit a lot, but no, really though. Like, that'd be useful on Twitter. The way that I am on Twitter, like, I'll just be bored, or I'll be medicated or something, and I'll just be like going off on Twitter saying a bunch of bullshit, and it's fun. It's shit posting on Twitter, whatever. But then sometimes I'll be like, oh wait, no, really though, now that I've cried wolf, pay attention to that. because this is actually serious. That would be an interesting feature. That's the boosted
Yeah.
posts that we have right now, but something like that. Or
Mhm.
even if it was like, what if you did that and then nobody took you seriously? And then something big did happen exactly the way you said it, basically. Like, no, this is going to happen. And then it did.
It's all the chain.
I fucking told you so button to be able to like cash in on something that you brought to the community
Yes.
like a
Yes.
long time ago, to be like,
Yeah.
no, that I
And-
did though. Seriously.
And by the way, any of that stuff can be integrated. We're already, because of the site-wide governance, which we'll get into in a minute, we're already looking at some of the better ways to integrate arbitrary NFTs, right? And a whole bunch of different things I want to see happen that I will be proposing. But there's a really good vision around it, and it fits right into this. So anyway, hopefully, I
Yeah, for
answered all
sure.
that.
There's a bunch of, and every time we add a tool and every time we add a feature, I start to figure out like, okay, how's that going to work in the real world for what I'm doing. And I posted that a little bit up here.
Yes.
And we're about ready to roll out with this, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do this is going to end up being, we want to make it easy. We want to make we almost want to make an automated series of shows to where the people that show up are the ones who get the ownership tokens for the lair, the Gainesville lair, where we're, the city where I live. And then they can vote on who we spend money on later. If we as a business are going to put on a bunch of shows anyway, you invest in that and you hope to turn a profit. What better way to make sure that you're doing it right than to get like the people that are going to be paying for the event to decide how the event should go,
Right.
And we can do a lot of stuff with that later on. We can do, like band contests and stuff like that. So I wrote up basically a quick, and some of this might be typos or something. I wrote it up real quick to respond. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that can be done with that structure. And the more people that think of innovative ways to use it, the more valuable that the whole community becomes. And each additional project in each additional city exponentially just makes it a more valuable community. So it's going to be cool. That's where I see 2022 for us is because I'm already talking to, we have a community that we're talking to in New York that wants to do some really interesting things. Mm-hmm. And then I'm meeting tomorrow with a couple of denizens that have been on here for a while. I keep promising to bring what I'm doing. And actually, here's what I'll do. I'll bring this into the marketing layer and talk about what I'm doing to get some ideas and to talk about it. Maybe you guys have some ideas for how I could make this, is this too busy? Should I, change the wording? Should we bring something up? How should, ideas about marketing Den. If our goal, which it is here, is to promote Den, get new users, if you're tipping the band, theoretically, the band members need a Den account to receive the tips so that we can get quality users, creators on board, stuff like that. And I'm meeting tomorrow with, I know one of them is in Venezuela. I don't know where the other one's at that we were meeting together, but to talk exactly about that, how to do stuff in different locations where we all live.
Right.
So yeah, that's looking into 22 some more. Is there anything else you wanted to say about that governance model?
No, I mean the of the layers themselves. No, I mean the real world interactions is what's going to be super interesting when you can use this to affect real world things. Like that's important. So
dope.
Awesome. Okay.
Let's see. Do we want to hit on? We've finalized all the how we're doing the different types of voters for Den-wide governance. So the LP holders get a category of votes.
We can talk about some because we started with the implementation, and so the engineers came to me for some of the, what goes into it, what's the measure, what's the formula, what's the algorithm, and if you're okay talking about that real quick, because there are a couple of things that are
absolutely,
in my opinion, super interesting. It might be a little dry, but so we have
it's a gov call. Let's do it.
Yes, we have the 3 votes, right? So we have which frankly. We need some consistency on what we call it because it's hard, to turn it's the matter one is easy. We can call it the content creator, right? Because it effectively takes your behavior related to the content, creation of the content, curation, tagging it, voting it up or down, anything related to that will give you more weight in that vote. We have the lore or lot focused one, which is the community vote, right? So if you aren't a content creator at all, but you want to, you come in and start communities and build communities, then that's where you operate. And so between the two of those, it was interesting because what we did is we said, first of all, there's a period. So it's not like if you do something today, it could totally destroy your vote the next day. It is instead a time, like a time period which includes the entire last quarter of the calendar year, plus any time this quarter that is passed. So at any point in time, it's going to be between 3 and 6 months in this time period. And as soon as the next quarter starts, the oldest quarter drops off, and you start with everything you did the last quarter is what dictates your weight and vote. And then you get every day you get to keep competing, right? So the interesting thing, though, is it has a reputation or an economic reputation built in where if you, for example, generated 100 matter, okay, and you never sold it, right? And I don't say sell it, you never, it's just there generating energy every day, then you max out what you can do, right? So you want to basically the goal is to produce matter via content creation, evaluation or tagging, participation in the pools, all of the normal things. And the more matter you get, and the more you keep in your account to generate energy to use, the more the higher proportion of that vote you'll get. Now,
that's cool because it's a really good measure of your relative, not what's the word? Desirable behavior, right?
Exactly.
The relative desirable behavior is that's what's being measured there.
Right. And on the community side, it can't be, we realized that it can't be just the number of lots you hold, because some layers have 10 million lots and some have 10,000 lot, and
some layers are booming and some layers are unkept.
Right. And so what we decided to do there instead was literally just to calculate, and the data is readily available on chain, to calculate the amount of matter that you have mined via your lot during that same period. And there's no other, it literally, how much have you produced given the amount of lot you have? So theoretically, you want to obtain through the LCPs, through your own doings, or through trading or buying them, you want to get as much lot as you can that is producing matter, that's valuable lot. And so that dictates that. Now, each of those in the graphic you just showed had those two votes are also split in half, where you have a matter liquidity on the matters on the content creator side, and you have a lore liquidity on the community side, because those are the tokens that directly interact with those parts of the utility of the system. And we didn't want to do what a lot of DeFi projects do, which requires you, number one, to pay a bunch of fees to lock your liquidity pool tokens into a contract, number one, and also gives you no freedom, right? That, things happen. So what we decided to do instead was put a time element to it. So if you put a liquidity pool token into your account address that you then claim inside a Den, just like you would with any other token in Den, you can claim an address, that you will generate a proportional weight of that liquidity portion of the that one vote, and the longer you hold it, the higher the weight is. So you're competing both with the amount of liquidity, which is a common thing, but now also how long it's been there. And if you move it, like say if you moved out all the liquidity, then your vote, no matter how long you held it or how big it was, goes to zero. And if you move half of it out, it's a proportional breakdown. And it's a very clean, very fair system that gives you full control Den would never touch that liquidity pool. We'd never have a contract that holds it.
Wouldn't have the opportunity to, And I mean,
Right.
let's real quick talk about what's unique about that system in DAOs and in NFTs and in farming, because there's unique features that nobody else does, which is like the ability to get the same, better results, I think, because you're adding the time thing into it with, how long have you held them. But besides age of number of days held and stuff, like the ability to use NFTs in a way that allows you to measure relative performance of individuals without ever collecting any of their personal information. All you
Right.
need is that output. All you need is that
Right.
emission from that particular token to know things about the behavior of the person who's holding it,
Right.
or to
Right.
have a very good idea of, you don't know shit. You have a very good idea of like the type of behavior of that person.
Right.
And so then staking without giving up your private keys, right? You're not putting it into a smart contract that somebody else owns. You're not giving up your LP tokens at all. You're just
Right.
saying, you're signing a message basically with your private keys saying, yep, these are mine.
Yep.
And then now it's an open ledger. It's a public thing. You shouldn't have to like physically be in there just to be able to get credit for what you have. You can prove that you have it, and it's the same thing.
Right.
And then you can just watch that address.
Yeah, and that is a big deal because you could have a contract where somebody staked a token, and if you had a flaw in it, it really sucks because then all of whatever they
you
have
see that
is
happening
gone.
all the time, where some really like I was pretty heavily invested into X token whenever they had their compromise, and I lost a bunch of money with them. I should bring that up with the IRS. I forgot about that. Good point, Dave. I got a tax season's coming up, and I have losses that I forgot about.
That's good.
But for real though, like that's something that's a fantastic team that put that together. That's a fantastic vision that they had, and they did it in such a pro interface. They did it in such a way that was familiar with certain types of institutional investors and things like that. And I was really excited about it. And I think it's a great project, but unfortunately, they got hacked. One of their contracts, I don't know the whole story. It was something about, no surprise. Actually, it was, I think it was something to do with oracles,
Okay.
how much trust do you put in an oracle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because one of the fixes was they incorporated Chainlink or something. I don't know, but it's important to bring up and talk about just because, and I'm not bashing on them. I wanted to say like X token's great, whatever, but it would not have happened if you would have never had to give up your private keys. You would have never had to give up your LP tokens in the first place.
And if it's all a competition for, and by the way, it'll be the same competition, I think, generally. It might be little details different, for weight of governance vote if I have that liquidity pool there. But I also will be rewarded with the lore behavior system as well, where effectively I will farm more lore based upon that same time value, where I'm not required just to lock it and lose control. I still have full control, but as soon as I pull it out, then I lose all the advantage that I had. So that's a big piece. Anyway.
Yeah, you can't just put some liquidity in for a vote and then take it back out after the vote's passed.
Right.
So that's something to prevent abuse.
Right. So there's that. Is that everything? I think that's
everything except for I wanted to just look and see who won and go over that real quick. I think that the advice layer won. Now, who else? Did we have anybody use the motorcycle bot there, Lair, right? The runners up?
Yes. What were they? Were they the second runner up? Second runner up? First runner up?
I don't want to connect MetaMask right now. Stop.
First runner up. Okay. All right. That is good. Oh, and unique voters.
By unique
that's
voters.
Correct. That's obvious. Okay.
There we go.
Because they had a lot. Yeah.
Right. So we don't. Just a reminder, the runners up by number of lore don't get to pay a fee to create. The runners up by unique voters do get the option. And I think it's the same as last time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is the scale. Cool. So first runner ups, 200 matter. If anybody who voted for that layer emails, is it info at or support at? Is it support? support
Either one.
at Den.Social and facilitate that. Anybody else, or was it just motorcycle? Is just motorcycle? Is the window for doing that over now, or can you still do that till the end of the week? Oh, next week. You can still do it up to next week. Monday, right? I'm trying to read lips and I can't. January. Okay. Gotcha. Oh, until the next LC. Okay. Until the proposal phase then, in that case, right? Dope.
Yes. As soon as proposal phase opens,
we did charades
when people
here,
can,
behind the scenes, that was great.
When they can withdraw their commitment, that's when you can no longer do it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I should know this stuff. I need to hit the books, Joe. But yeah, so up until then, if you want current situation, Garden of Flowers collectibles, is it 4 or 5?
5, the top 5
or
runners up. So Japan, yeah.
And that is in order 400, 600 matter to create Garden and Flowers, 800 and 1,000 to create Japan.
And it's interesting because the gaming in that is that you might have gotten it locked in, and you might have a better percentage than you might get if it goes through another round. Because some of these, like true. Elon Musk took 6 months to work its way up.
And somebody who might have had 30% or more ownership in the beginning, that gets diluted as more people vote for it.
Right.
But I would argue that your share becomes noticeably more valuable if you get more people collaborating on it. It's kind of useless to have your own little echo chamber there with 3 people.
Yeah. And that is, by the way, why LCP's there. Not only, one of the primary reasons was so that we just didn't have a flood of layers with no content in them, right? But the other was so that people have to get together and do this and say, oh, well, 67 people think that advice was worth having, right? So that becomes...
And that's a good point too. What you just said was like, we didn't want to spin up a bunch of layers that are going to be low traffic or not have anything in them because there's not enough support for it. I would personally much rather have like more content and fewer layers, even if we have to filter out spam, than to have, every person who, can you imagine if every person who tried out Den just to see if they like it, let's say 1 out of 10 people stick around, right? But if every person spun up a layer just to try it out, that would become not as useful.
And we, we ran during the alpha before we ran through where we actually added a configuration screen to say, create a layer, right? And I'm not joking. We had like 100, 200 people maybe, during the beta or alpha, I guess. I can't remember actually, but it was a very small number. But we had like 1,200 layers after that. Yeah. And it was just...
For 100 people.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And it was because... very smartly, some of these people were wanting to squat on these layers, thinking, well, maybe this will last through and make it past the beta and into the production.
I'm going to get the AMC layer before they can get it.
right. And so it's that type of thing. I'm like, well, it's kind of anyway.
Yeah, and then along the way, you got to at some point make a decision. Do you want to create a marketplace around trading domains, or do you want to create a marketplace around being useful and getting the conversation out and recording it for history.
Yep. And that's why LCB's there. And I still think I think this is the second month in a row that we've had at least one of the runners up come in and say, I want this.
It is.
So that's a good indication that maybe we should have. Now we already have 1 and 1, so theoretically you would have 2, but the way the gaming almost always works, when you only have 1, it's almost like, well, everybody's going to throw in something at the last minute into it, and you're going to end up, it'll be the top lore, top unique also. So
right. Same thing that happened last time, 1 and 1. So we might decide, in a couple of months, if we start seeing that there's routinely somebody has to buy one to get, or doesn't have to, but decides that the demand is there, right? That's a way to measure demand. If your frequency of those getting purchased rise.
We could also consider to do 2 and 1, and I don't know if you would do 2 by unique. One lore based winner and 2 unique, or 2 lore based and 1 unique. I don't know. That might be
which way? If you wanted to add a third.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Which side would you add it on?
That's a good question.
So
If that would have been in, let's pretend that that was the case now, what would have happened? We would have had advice obviously wins. And then if it was by unique voters, it would have been advice and motorcycle, which is exactly what ended up
what
paying the
happened
fee.
so far?
And if we had it in by lore, it would have been advice and current situation. And we don't know if they would have chosen or not because they're not in the top. Oh yeah, they are. They're in the top. So they did not choose. They did not
So far.
choose to. So far, they still can to pay the fee to create it. So they would not have been included in if it was by unique voters, but they would have by lore.
And if you
Does
could
that help?
say if it's by lore, at least they would have made it through. Whereas on the unique side, anybody can. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing either way. Maybe
I'm inclined to do it on the unique voter side.
Mhm. Me too. That's where it's you. I would rather see the competition there,
Yeah, me too.
but
Me too.
just because people will want to be in. I can't
And
remember how
that
many
would
how many
push.
did because we got 67 on this. How many did Musk have? Elon Musk. That
Oh,
was
dude,
the
I don't know.
the most ever,
Um,
right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was. Where's Elon? Mr. E.
I don't think it
E.
lists how many
E.
owners though.
E.
Right
There we go.
there. Yeah, you can see them.
It has this is how many lot it's got.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe the judges will give
oh,
us
you
an
know what?
answer.
I bet I can go. I can go to become an owner. Go to
82.
OpenSea. 82.
82.
All
82.
right. Cool. Elon
Yeah.
Musk.
Oh, by the way, speaking of which, when you look at the metrics that are out there, either on OpenSea or if you look at like Matter metrics on Etherscan,
Ah, yes.
what I would like to do is have a combination. Like, say, if you go to the metrics page, you would see because if you look at Matter on Etherscan, and it looks like there's like 60 addresses or something, right?
Oh yeah.
How many is it?
Sidebar. We breached
Yes.
700K.
Yes, 700,000. But is it
Yeah. Holders.
60?
It says 65.
It's
Yeah.
65. And so
We've got
yet
thousands of holders.
we know
Yeah.
there are thousands, yet they're not on Ethereum. So we have 65 holders on Ethereum who have exported and wanting to interact over there. We should have the same. If you click on the token holders chart, I want to have that right below right there. Yeah. I want to generally
yeah.
have
We need
that.
this for Dragon Nets holders too.
Yeah, because on inside of Den, I know that the what do I want to say? There is no large holder.
That's probably the that's one of these big chunks. It's probably the
It's
blue
probably the
portion.
multi-sig wallet or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right.
but I'm just thinking like if we had that for the internals, so you could look at both and you could say, oh, I can see there, 3,000, 4,000, whatever it is on over here, and I can see that nobody holds more than like 18%. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. There's some stuff there I want to get added,
but yeah, I like the idea of if we move to 2, I like the idea of doing it on the unique voter side, because that prioritizes decentralization and larger community instead of prioritizing I don't know, whales, I guess.
Yep.
But it's good to have the lore one there in case somebody does want to just go out and push theirs to the top, that kind of thing. So I think that's the right call, if I were to guess.
So maybe it's one or two. Maybe we can make a proposal.
Yeah, I was gonna say if the governance, if the site wide was out right now, we would do a gov proposal for everyone on Den to vote on. Anybody who wanted to, regardless of whether they have lot or not, because we're able to do that. So maybe we might still be able to do that, because I think we'll see what the timing's like.
Yeah,
well,
it's usually
from January, but
well, I mean, we could do a governance vote 2021 style.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
let's say here's a week. We can make it 2-1 for January and decide it. So anyway,
okay, let's put that up.
Team.
Yeah, and see what people think.
It'd be fun.
Awesome. So yeah, that's the extent of what I wanted to make sure that we hashed out today, I think.
Cool. See.
Reminders at the bottom. There's a bunch of shows going on now, which is cool. We've got World Blockchain Roundtable, which is its own layer and its own community on Den. I think that's an excellent thing to look at if you're looking into marketing your own thing, because I like the way that you set that up.
That model,
that
that model's
model for that.
repeatable, right?
Yeah.
The fact
Yeah.
that I'm actually, I love the way it panned out, and it wasn't all me, right? That it effectively rewards you for continuous engagement, whether
Yeah.
you are asking questions, whether you're on the show.
I used that model specifically when developing the local meet space thing with the venue. I thought about what World Blockchain did with giving a lot to people who participate, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me realize, like, playing around with metaverse stuff, one of the tokens that's really popular is POAP or POAP, proof of attendance protocol, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized effectively we can do the same exact thing on Den just by tipping a lot if you physically attend a show, or if you are on a show virtually and you interact in the way that you want. So that's powerful, because then that, you know, I can make sure that the only people voting on my Lair's stuff are the people that have shown that they support the community in some way. And that includes even if somebody goes out, let's say, and purchases one of the lot, right, from another member, they don't participate, but they went and bought one. You're still supporting the economy of the community. If you're putting in LP, liquidity, stuff like that, maybe you never even have maybe you have a Den account, but you never post and you don't like evaluate and do that much stuff, but you want to support the liquidity and you want to take fees from people who are using it and things like that. That's supportive of the community.
Right.
And you're able to like think about who gets a vote and how much of a vote they get based on behavior. And it's brilliant. So I love it. All right, cool.
Awesome.
So World Blockchain. Share that. We just got done today with conspiracy theories, conspiracy blockchain stuff. So that was cool. I thought it was really mild. It didn't go off on any, like, I thought it was borderline not conspiracy stuff. Personally, I thought it was borderline just talking about reality.
Wow. I think that in the end is what most people have woken up to these days.
Yeah.
It's like it is all just reality. So
yeah. Super Happy is on Tuesdays at the same time that World Blockchain is on Thursdays, but it's on Tuesdays. And then I do a show now Wednesday mornings, Coffee with Den. And I think this coming up week, we're going to be talking mostly about what we're doing with the gaming layer, because the guy that's been coming on with me I've got 2 regular co-hosts that are going to be coming on with me. We're all going to be doing some stuff in the gaming layer because we like that kind of thing. And so we will, we'll make a show out of it. That'll be cool. That's awesome. Wednesdays. What am I missing? Anything that I'm missing? Reminders?
No. I mean, you go buy some merch. We need to get some Den governance merch. We have a lot of Den merch. Like, we have the colors now, and we have the.
We should use Den to crowdsource like ideas for that. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of designs do we want? Do we like the logo dead center of the chest, or do we like it on the breast pocket? Stuff like that.
There's even a potential. Given known markup, we say, okay, here's the markup that theoretically, and I just now thought of this, right? Theoretically, any layer could come in and say, hey, we want some merch related to our layer, and we want to put it in the same store, right? Because it's easy for us to do as long as we have the design and it's not inappropriate, not a trademark issue or anything else. Then we would do that. It'd be kind of cool. We could make that work.
Yeah, if we had a store, the money thing can be figured out. That's just figuring out how the workflow and the business model works with that, and that can be sorted out. But that would be cool if at some point that there was like infrastructure to have a merch store for each layer, have their own little merch store.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know we could put tags in them. In the store we could make a separate one, and theoretically there might be a way to interface it even without going to the Dragon Chain store. There might be a way to interface it direct.
That'd be a great conversation to have.
But it could be something where theoretically to ease the issue of money transfer stuff, we could pay you in Matter. I don't know. I have no idea. Something.
Well, we could do anything.
Yes. 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 We can do
Cool.
anything.
All right. Well, happy holidays, everyone. I hope everyone ends out the new. Words, Dave. I hope everyone finishes out the year and goes into the new year as best as they can, as safely as they can. We don't know what's going to happen, so stay safe, and
yes,
we'll see you next time.
And we do have one before the end of the year, right? So I think we're here next
it's
week.
only the 23rd.
Anyway,
so
yeah. All right.
What would that make? Yeah, we got one more. So we'll see you next week, same time.
Yes. Right on.
All right. That's it. I've been Dave. That's been Joe.
Thanks.
Cheers.